All right, hello everyone. It's been a great conference. Really glad you were all here through the end. This will be the final session. No luck?
Hi. If you see a tall South African,
Okay.
send him along.
You know where Koos Fouché is at. Please find him.
Well, first off, I continue to be inspired and impressed with the level of thinking. So even just hearing some of what Mark was just saying and his perspective and his heart behind things and what the way that they're building things is amazing. I think this panel is sort of about the future of Missional AI as a conference and as a community. And before we get into some of the questions, so instead of hoping that you fill out some sort of survey and give us feedback, now is the time to do that. So we're not going to do like the live pop-up on the screen at the moment, but if you could please right now open up your phone or your computer, go to the Slido app. So the app the app for Missional AI, the link to Slido or a previous, if you have that already pulled up, go there. There's a few questions on Slido just to give us feedback, what you thought. We want to make this better in the future. And we're going to kind of discuss now some of the thoughts from those who have been involved in organizing this community and how it's developed over time, which will hopefully give you a sense of what's coming next and also how you all can be involved and how we can work together to build up this event and this community. Before I kind of jump into some of these questions, I think from my own perspective, I just wanted to share a little bit of the background for those that don't know. I shared a little bit of that, but more so from the heart behind this community. I think I mentioned being in the Yurt with Tim and some of my other good friends here. Actually, I think there's some fellow previous Yurt dwellers in the house as well. And so that was, I actually forget, I think it was 2018, 2019. And those were really the leaders at the time in that Yurt thinking about chatbots for digital engagement. There were people at that conference, I remember, talking about, I remember people from BCS talking about what they were doing on the ground with machine translation, drafting back at that time. And when I came to that was one of the first things that I did after coming to SIL. I'd spent a number of years in industry working as a data scientist before that. I had been in academia before that. And so I really had no idea what this whole missions world was about and who was doing what. And I was very naive, and I think in that time I saw, wow. One note that I had was people that are working in industry and academia that have a heart for missions and have all of these skills around AI and technology and research, they have no idea about these amazing people doing these amazing projects across the world. Secondly, Tim and I realized a lot of these people don't know about each other. These people are trying to do this type of chatbot over here to engage people, and this group's trying to do like on the ground follow-up, and like they're all kind of trying to do things, and it's not like they're not trying to talk about each other. They're just doing it in their Scrappy way because they see a vision and a way forward with that, but there's not that communication. And so there weren't sort of the parties doing all of that weren't in communication with one another. And there were a lot of people that weren't even at the table that really would love to be there. And that's kind of what spawned, that was the heart behind all of this, was to say, hey, it was really difficult for me personally to find, like, parse through, like, as an AI practitioner, as a data scientist, how can I be involved in missions, and is there anything going on in that space? And then as these people in different organizations, how do they know what others are doing, and can build on the work of others, form collaborations, figure out what are the right sets of tools, figure out where there's gaps that they can contribute. And so that's really the heart behind that. And I was kind of hopeful maybe someday we could get like 40 to 50 of these people together and they would have a really great time, and it would be wonderful. And now we're here. You can see how it's developed, and a lot of that has to do with the others that are sitting here with me that have said, hey, we're coming from different perspectives, but we share that underlying heart behind the event, behind the community. And as was mentioned earlier, way more so than me, especially this year, these individuals, the organizing team have sacrificed of their time, the partners have sacrificed of their funds to make sure that this can happen. And I think all of you hopefully would agree that it's worthwhile, and that we're creating a space for collaboration, we're creating a space where there's less duplication and waste. We're creating a space where new things are being envisioned and are possible, and we're bringing in people, we're at least starting to bring in people from different sectors that aren't working together yet. I would say that's the sort of heart, that's the aspiration. I would say there's still a lot of things that are yet to be done. Greater things are still to come, and that's what we're praying for. If you notice, like, I maybe we'll do this poll at some point, or it's already been done, but I would say the majority of people in this room are coming from a missional perspective, meaning a missions org or nonprofit perspective. And we've had people kind of come in from academia and industry, but they're sort of in the minority here. And I think about, like, the amazing work that Mark and Praxis are doing, the amazing work that Christine and Faith Tech are doing, and there's so many people that are involved in those communities that have a heart for what we're about, but they're not here. And I think there's still work to be done to loop those people in, to loop academia in. It was awesome to hear Matthew being able to connect with people, but other universities, you know, Mark talked about that as well today, other university involvement, student involvement. We're kind of, it was great to see people like Leo and others here. I starting to feel somewhat old because I don't know how to use a skull emoji, whoever brought that up. And so there's people that are passionate and building, they just don't know about this community. And so I think there's a lot of great things to come, but it'll involve all of us kind of joining arms together and figuring out a way forward through this. So that was my rant. I'll pause there and see if any of the others here would want to comment on kind of the heart and the aspirations looking forward for the Missional AI event and the community.
I was last on stage, so I'll give the others the opportunity.
I think I just want to say, from my view, it's just been incredible to see both experts in this field share learnings and be able to, be here, be accessible for any of us to be able to ask questions of them, as well as I think with just the group of people who are here. There's an incredible mix of different organizations and people that it's just been so valuable to connect with across different places and see opportunities for that collaboration. So I think it's at least from my perspective, been a hugely valuable thing.
What I'm excited about is that when we use the word collaboration, we all know that that is an overused word, right? We can say collaboration, but what does that look like? And I'm hearing the right conversations, okay? So what people should be involved, what processes or systems, methodologies need to be in place for us to collaborate, what kind of platforms, what kind of data. So it's moving past theoretical, and now we're really starting to talk about like a solution or a framework. You've heard that represented by Faith Tech and others. So I feel like the right people are in the room for collaboration. And my hope is that those stories, like we heard about Disciple IQ earlier, projects or even startups being launched as a result of the work that's in this room. But what I'm most excited about is that when I think of the Great Commission, we get to participate in bringing the Word of God to places that have never heard, and at a scale never seen before. So I'm excited about the innovation possibilities.
What's amazing for me normally with these events is it's great, the presentations, but it's the conversations that's happening. And I'm not sure if you've seen, if you come into the meeting area in the mornings, there's a certain vibe that's in the air. There's a certain excitement that at least I pick up. And for me, that's important, that we continue doing that, continue having conversations. If we end this meeting today, the leads that we've made, the friends that we've made, let's keep the conversation going. And not only within focus areas like translation or kingdom growth, but I think the powerful thing can happen if we start to cross-pollinate. And we have conversations across borders. I think one of the things that we have constantly been saying in Bible translation, or that we've been pushing for in the last couple of years, is what does incremental publishing look like? We don't have to wait for things to be done before we can start to use it. And we need everyone else that's working in the field of ministry growth, outreach, discipleship, use the things that we produce. We value the feedback because that can help us to do things better and more effectively. But I think ultimately for me is we have the unique opportunity here to be at the cutting edge where things are going to happen. And I just think we can't lose that opportunity. We really have to grab that and run with that in not an irresponsible way, but in a responsible way. And doing that together, the likelihood of being successful is much better. So I would encourage everyone to see this not as the end of the conversation, but really as the start of the conversation.
Yeah, thank you all. So in terms of the future and next year, I was encouraged already. Speakers, we didn't prompt them, but they're talking about next year, which is awesome. So you all know, the room that we're sitting in here will be no more next year. You might have heard about that in the news. So there's some shifts happening, and I think it presents an opportunity for this community to really reconsider and say, okay, we've done this a few times now. Now that we're getting kicked out, not really kicked out, to be clear, but now that there's a change happening, how do we want to shift involvement in missional AI, and what do we want it to look like in the future? Aspirationally, from my own personal side, I've always desired that this is more of an international event that would involve people from other places that have visa issues getting to a place like Orlando, but also widening and broadening involvement of people that need to be at the table that aren't here, like I was talking about. So any of the organizers, steering committee here, what should people consider about both how things are kind of changing with missional AI and the opportunity? What specifically is the opportunity for the people in this room to be involved between now and next year in shaping what that looks like into next year?
Well, if you haven't already signed up for the AI Collective, that is your opportunity. So Faith Tech, one of the things that they really excel at is community. So that's the reason for the partnership. We realize that some of you may not be connected to a community of practitioners. Wow, we need each other. I love our CFO. He always says, all of us is smarter than one of us, so we need each other.
I remember the first one we organized, which was online, Daniel. I thought to myself afterwards, it was a success not because of us, but despite of us, and that God must have favored it because we really didn't know what we were doing. And for a lot of what we've done in the last 4 years, we've really relied on people offering up their time. But we realize if we want to move this forward, if we want to do it more professionally, we will definitely need people that is skilled in helping to organize events like this. So I think for me that would be one appeal. If there are any ministries, organizations that does have any administrative skills and things that they can offer, that would be a huge benefit, because I think not just us but other people in the room have offered up their time and had to get permission at their orgs to do that. But I think if we want to really move it up a notch, we will definitely need more professional help and input.
Yeah, and to that point, in case you didn't know, I mean, I think everybody who's involved with planning this, it's fractional time. So it's, maybe 10% of our time from our organizations that have been given to this. None of us are focused on this full time. So I think one of the things I would just say is as the conference continues to grow, none of us are event planners. None of us are, really excel and, or do that. We need help. Like we need broader help in order to make this a reality. And yeah, I think we all and our organizations do believe in this. But I would just say, just from our side, if this is going to continue, like we just need help. We need more hands and more people at the table. So.
And it really bears worth mentioning. I know some of you have come to this year over year, but we're doubling every year. So when you scale something, I think we all know about that, right? Your methods need to change.
Yeah, and also some other things need to change. And as the filthy capitalist on the stage here, as Mark would put it, so it takes money to make this happen. And I think what is also true is that so there's two things that's true. One is we've been incredibly blessed to have E10 be a major partner for this in the past. And that's been amazing. They're going to continue to be involved in the future. But we want this to represent different sectors of the involvement of the organizations in the room. So yes, there's Bible translation, but Bible translation orgs need to be collaborating with digital discipleship, digital evangelism orgs, and both of those orgs need to be collaborating with industry partners, and all of those need to be collaborating with academic partners. And really, to be quite blunt, I know we all don't like talking about money in the room, so I'll do it because I'm used to feeling uncomfortable. It takes people to put their checkbook down and commit to something to really create a change in the both demographics and the structure and the involvement of an organization or an event. So we really don't want to say, okay, well, Bible translation is going to foot the bill and the rest of us kind of like hop on, this is cool. Yeah, great. First of all, the scale is changing, as Yvonne talked about. The scale is changing, and with that comes more needs financially, but also that creates opportunities for other portions of those organizations that are involved, for other sectors like industry, for other funders, for other collectives like we've heard about, to be involved and put a stake in the ground and say, when someone comes to the Missional AI website and sees who's backing it, they see support from, yes, Bible translation, but also from orgs not involved with Bible translation, but wanting to be collaborative with Bible translation, and not only missional orgs, but industry partners, and not only industry partners, but academic partners. And so, my appeal on behalf of my friends here on stage is within the next month. So it takes like 18 months to do a really good job at planning one of these events. So we're already behind for next year. So we really need to figure out, one, where's this thing gonna happen next year? And two, who is gonna be supportive of this next year at a larger scale that we're expecting, and in a professional way that is going to be able to meet some of those aspirational goals of involving more international participants, of involving more industry partners. And so our appeal is within the next month, if you want to support this more than attending, if you felt the if you felt the benefits of this, I kind of view it as one of these things like, hey, you could let Missional AI die, and everyone could spend their own funds on engineering their own solutions, and we could duplicate everything, right? Or we could come together every year and form great collaborations and actually put some funds to that would actually have a multiplicative effect across what we're trying to do. So yeah, that's my appeal on behalf of my brothers and sisters here, and I'll be forthright about that. That's essentially the ask. Within the next month, we need to figure that out. So here's what you can do. Joshua has kindly volunteered to be a point of contact. So it's easy. You have one point of contact, the AI Collective and Joshua. If you have any interest in being supportive, and also being supportive in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to necessarily just be a sponsor, but there's venue opportunities. There's maybe scholarship opportunities for getting more people there. There's opportunities to sponsor maybe, like if you have an idea, hey, what if we did like an ideathon or a hackathon at the event, and I want to sponsor that because that's what I care about. We want to hear those ideas, so please come to Joshua with all of those. So that was my entrance into the money talk. Anything you would like to clarify?
So I was just thinking, if prediction card doesn't work out, you would make a good prosperity gospel preacher. So.
I would say we have a few ideas, but we don't have, a solid commitment or a solid place that really fits the bill. But we would love connections, ideas for potential venues. Not especially.
So the question is if we would be open to a match. Okay.
Pardon me. Would you all be open to a matching opportunity where a private individual could put up that match, one portion to be for the location and the management and the food and the toilet paper, the other portion to provide scholarships for the key strategic other world leaders to come, whether it's business travel, accommodations, for some, depending the location, they may welcome an in-home experience. So to create that relationship, but to create money, no object, let's get the right people here. And my prediction is it's not going to just double, it'll probably triple.
Yeah, I would say we are definitely open to any of that. So matching grants, for sure. And yes, like we want to include the leaders who need to be here and should be here, and we want this to remain accessible. We want it to not be just something that is only available if you're in North America. So,
And even you'll see the price for just attending the event has been really very low, and we would like to keep it that way. We can up it to $500-600, but then we know we will exclude a lot of people. And even when we look at venue, what we do consider is, can we get some affordable accommodation around the venue to really make it as accessible for people, irrespective of their ability to pay for this, or their ministry to pay for it. So yes, everything that we can get to help with that, I think will help us stay true to the ethos of this and make it as widely accessible to all.
Well, I first of all want to say thank you so much for this. I'm not a technological person, but I think I've been advocating for such a thing, and I want to be an evangelist for getting church people to understand this entire AI world. My question is, are you open to membership fees? That might not be an acceptable thing, but are you open to that? Because at least some people can contribute towards this if I'm a member. And what are the benefits? You got to just think through all of that.
yeah, we've not thought about membership fees, but I think, again, we want to provide value, and we want it to be a valuable experience for, this community. So,
And I think it's a great idea, but it then comes back to administration again, is how to manage that. And at the moment, the capacity issue is one of the main things that we really need and struggle with.
So I know people have flights, so I appreciate all of you staying in your seats to hear us discuss this. I think I'm encouraged even by this response and your all's enthusiasm. This is a huge answer to prayer, even just what has happened here. God is so good, and God is at work in this community. And so we appreciate you letting us exercise our faithful risk-taking to be transparent with you all and to share how you can collaborate and really join arms with us. So thank you so much, and I'll pass it off to Joshua to close out.